We got Jamall Swaso, direct from Dangriga, Belize, Citizens for Good Governance. And we are here tonight and we're going to talk about the debate. The debate that is going to happen in Dangriga next week on November 3rd. Hey, good night. How you doing, Jamal?
All is well. It's my pleasure to be here to promote the effort that Citizens for Good Governance is doing in the Dangriga constituency, and it's a pleasure to be on your show as well, Senso man. I feel excited right now to go into this discussion. I always listen. I don't listen regularly, but when I do listen to your show, it's always a productive discussion. So it's good that I'm here to contribute to the discussion now.
Yeah, yeah, definite. Yeah, so what the debate's going to be all about in Dangriga? I'm hearing that the United Democratic Party area rep is
Okay. Well, in terms of the debate, one second, sir. Okay. In terms of the debate, can you repeat your question again for me?
yeah, I heard the United Democratic Party leader, not leader, but their area rep for Dangriga to Sawawi, he's not,
Yeah.
yeah, he's not going to be representing the United Democratic Party. Is that right?
Okay. Firstly, I would like to talk about what the debate is. So, the debate for Citizen for Good Governance is basically an effort by young persons within the Dangriga constituency to ensure that we have accountability on behalf of our politicians who seek to represent us on all levels. So, the push through Citizens for Good Governance is to ensure that we have the effort to highlight the work that needs to be done in our constituency and raise the political discussion. The debate came about it was organized by Citizens for Good Governance. We sent out invitations to all candidates. At the deadline for the discussion, only two candidates had stated that they were going to participate in the debate. Those were Jamall Swaso from the Belize People Front and also Louis Zabane the from the People's United Party. Only those two candidates at the deadline that we set for approval to move forward is accepted to do the debate. So we are proceeding. We have already recorded the debate, by the way. We are proceeding with it. The third candidate, the representative, just did not accept in time for the discussion.
Oh, okay. So,
Uh,
so you guys set for November
Third.
the 3rd. Cool.
Mm.
Do you know what kind of questions you're going to be asking? Uh,
No, we already the good thing about this effort that Citizens for Good Governance is doing, that it's a pre-recorded show. We already
oh,
recorded the
okay.
debate, so the debate is already prepped and for launch November 3rd. But no images, no video has come out about it. The
Oh,
questions are relevant questions to Dangriga, the needs of Dangriga, and what these two politicians seek to do for Dangriga. The questions are based on the economics, based on human development issues, and it's also based on social support and sports and recreation. So the questions that were asked to the candidates were relevant, and I could assure the people who are listening to your show at this time that the candidates indeed responded respectfully and detailed to what they plan to do for Dangriga and rebutted some of their opinions as well. It was great.
man, that's good. That's good. All right. So,
Mm.
so it's a pre-recorded show. I thought you caught me half guard. I thought it was going to be like virtual, like what we're doing. Is it?
No, but the thing is, what we realize with the live discussion is that the effort, the candidates accepted the pre-recorded, so the debate went on. But however, with a live discussion, it will be launched live, like how it's developed live. So the the engagement from the audience will still be there. They will be able to watch it while it launched,
Yeah.
and it will be able to they will be able to comment and everything under it. Because necessarily, in terms of the comments, we will not use those comments from the live to engage with the audience. We already had put out questions. People had contributed questions on the Citizen for Good Governance Facebook page, and they had also fielded questions to us through various mediums, like through personal contacts. And then we used those questions that the community had given for the candidates, and then we gave those questions, we built and developed our questions for the candidate from. So majority of the questions that were asked of the candidates are from the community of the constituency of Dangriga, which is included of Pokrik, Sarawi, and Dangriga Town.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. That is so nice.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this debate. I can't wait to see this debate between Mr. Sawazo and Zavani. I have interviewed.
Mm.
I interviewed Sawazo actually about 6 weeks ago, and yeah, he had a positive mind.
Mm.
Zabani now, I remember Zabani. He uh, he once went over to the Belize Progressive Party, and then he shifted back side and went back to the People's United Party, and that's where he at now. He's a standard bearer, and I hope the Dangriga people do what is best between those both candidates. I mean, you know, as I said, on the discussion tonight, I wanted to ask you the government the good governance.
So the Citizen for Good
It's
Governance.
compromise. It's mostly youths, right? Mostly young
Yes.
people.
Yes, everyone is underneath the age of 35,
Good.
which is the United Nation definition of a youth is under the age of 35. Everyone under the age of 35. So we are all dynamic. I consider ourselves all dynamic and you that have contributed to our community individually in terms of holding individual accountable. I believe that we have done our part in our community, and we are continuing through the citizen by farming a citizen for good governance to continue to do our part in our community to ensure that we represent Dangriga well,
Yeah.
and that and then the citizen for good governance is not only the commission like it's a holistic effort that will proceed beyond this election. It will be like a watchdog organization for any person who seeks to represent Dangriga constituency or Dangriga town, not in the national election or in the municipal election. That is our effort for citizens for good governance.
So what you're a youngster, right?
Yes.
What the youths in Dangriga are looking for this election? What are they looking for?
Firstly, Mr. Senso, I would like to say that the youths of Dangriga are disenfranchised by what we have. Um, they do not feel interested. Most of the youth do not feel interested in politicians or in the democracy that we have. They do not feel like it's a necessary thing to have. It's just a burden to them. Therefore, they are lackadaisic towards it. That's part of the reason why we form Citizens for Good Governance, because we want to take away from that lack of effort and that lack of feel towards politics in our constituency. Because people need to feel as if though they are part of politics, because politics is related to governance. And the importance of good governance, like our name, Citizens for Good Governance, is very vital in the development of Dangriga. That is highly, at this time, Dangriga is a highly underdeveloped town
Yeah.
that needs more effort to develop. And if a group like Citizens for Good Governance exists, we will be able to hold these politicians accountable to keep to whatever promise they make to our constituency, and to ensure that we make the public of Dangriga know that we will hold these politicians accountable to what they say.
Yeah. For the past 12 years, only one area rep been voted in, right? For the past 12 years, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
For the past 12 years, no. For the past 12 years, we had Ivan Ramos from the People's United Party, and we have Mr. Tua Roches, Arthur Tua Roches,
mhm.
who was there first for the United Democratic Party. Then Mr. Ivan Ramos stepped down, resigned from the National Assembly, and then a by-election was held between Anthony Sabah and Honorable Frank Papamena, which
Yeah.
led to Frank Papawera winning that
Win.
by-election. Then immediately after, another election was held. The official election in November was held, and that's when Honorable Frank Papamena was elected to represent the Dangriga constituency,
Okay.
again going against Mr. Anthony Ramos.
Oh,
No,
so
not Anthony Ramos, Mr. Anthony
Sabah.
Sabah.
So he won that twice.
Yes, he won that twice.
And you as youth for Dangriga, right? You a youth. You the youth
Mm.
man.
Mm. Mm.
Have you seen improvement? What Mr. Mena did? Have you seen any improvement within the youth?
Necessary as a
I mean,
youth.
within the youth, like like high school, primary school, the dropout rates, have it increased or decreased?
I would not be able to say what necessarily took place. The challenges with speaking on that is that,
Mm-mm.
yes, indeed, Dangriga has a lot of social issues. And to say that the social issues started under Mr. Mena would be
Yeah,
naive of
would be
myself to
naive.
say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be naive that is to say that it started under him. Social issues of Dangriga has been existence from independence.
Well,
Political represent
I could throw
political representation in Dangriga has been lacking.
I could throw some lights on that because I was born in Dangriga. I was born in Dangriga, and
Mm,
the same street that I was born in is
mm,
still not paved yet.
mm, mm,
Both administration they come and go and come and go, come and go and come and go, and nothing has been done for these streets in Dangriga. I mean, look, the economic plan, who serve it? They don't have an economic plan for Dangriga.
mm.
Now when I went down to Dangriga, which was 2 days ago, all I see was huge buildings going up, man. Huge buildings. I mean, all owned by Chinese, you know? So they really don't have an economic plan, and less people are working now. Less people are working. So, and with this COVID 19, it's going to get worse.
I
Um,
think can I butt in here?
sure.
I think what has happened to Dangriga is that we have not been well represented by any person that has been elected. Probably they tried and they have faced challenges to doing what they want to do. But has it been reflective in our community of the development that has taken place in other parts of the country? No. Dangriga is economically depressed, and many people would say is that Dangrigans should do it for themselves, or why not get up and work. That is irresponsible of anyone to say, because that irresponsibility comes from the fact that you're gaining more from the taxes that we pay as well, and we are being neglected and not receiving our taxes. And to say that also is not based on our political underrepresentation, it's based on the political neglect by a system that allows political neglect to happen for Dangria tongue specifically. It's a shame what has taken place with our tongue. But at this time, Dangriga is not where it needs to be by any standard. And
Yeah.
whoever takes it how they want to, is that's how they have to take it.
I, you know, a short brief history about the Garinagus. I mean, the Garinagus, the Gar. This is history. The Garinagus been in Belize long before the slave master and his slave came to Belize. So with a little bit representation now, I mean, come on, we should have representation because we've been here long before the white man and his slave, right? History has proven that, you know, and we only have like two people up there representing the Garinagu people. I'm just it's a different subject,
Okay,
but
the so that cultural discussion to say not to say that we're going to balkanize Dangriga specifically only for Garifuna people. It's a Garifuna community indeed. Um, we need to ensure that the discussion is that
okay,
Garifuna need representation,
yeah,
right? First, I'll agree with that. But it's a sad situation that we have in Dangriga that we have to that, but we have viable candidates that I believe any of whom would represent Dangriga well. And we should stick on that because the cultural discussion can go anywhere, and it would solely because I'm here not represent. If I was representing myself, the discussion would have been extremely different. But I am here representing the citizens for good governance, which is a group of us, and so in that point, I would just have to tread lightly to respond to that
okay.
question.
Back to the Citizens for Good Governance. Um, so you guys have an executive, all right?
Yes, we have an executive.
And you don't mind disclose names, no, or
Yes, I can
it's a
disclose name.
or
It's
it's
the
a secret
executive.
service. It's not a secret
No,
service.
no, no, no.
Like you
The
know,
executive.
our government is secretive. They got secret service all over the place. I mean,
the,
anyway, go ahead.
the executive is made up of myself, Jamall Swaso, former CARICOM Youth Ambassador, Kyla Siego, and also works at Belize Family Life Association. We have Mrs. Janelle Roches, who is from Dangriga as well. She's a CAB Child Advisory Board Director. We have Andrew Dawson, who is the director of the department, who works at the Department of Youth Services as a youth coordinator. We have also Trevon Castillo, who is currently the vice principal for Ecumenical Junior College. No, vice president, sorry, for Ecumenical Junior College.
Wow, that is good. I mean, so you guys have a full executive. That's good. And
Yes.
so
Mm,
you guys gonna make sure and you guys gonna make sure that good governance is going on down in Griga. What you think?
yes.
Let me ask you a question. The young people of Dangriga. When I was growing up, everyone had a farm. Every family had a farm, and you know we would go to the farm in the morning before we even go to school, right? And on weekends we would go and reap whatever the farm have, and then we sell it. We sold it, right? But today now, fast forward 2020, less than 5% of the youths in Dangriga know what is farm.
Okay.
Put some
Let
lights on
me
that.
clarify that as a young person, not as a C. This is I'm taking off my CGG hat, Citizen for Good Governance hat. As a young person, the challenges with that, not and the, so it was a false perception to say that all families had a farm in Dangriga because my family did not have a farm. We just had a properties in Dangriga. So they worked with other people on other people's farms and support, yes, but then they did not own a farm. And also a challenge that took place after Hurricane Hattie, the displacement of Garifuna people from Dangriga and going to the United States and also elsewhere in Belize and that generational gap that was created by the abandonment. This is not a blame game. I'm just stating that this is part of the reason why we are here what we are. Then fast forward to now, our generational parents do not see agricultural as a way out. Many of our parents say education is the way. So go to school. Do not go and plant anymore. Go and get a higher level degree. Do not engage in such activities that I consider hard work anymore. Do something different. Thus, abandoning all the farmland, and therefore many families have stolen farmland or are no longer located in Dangriga, so you cannot work their farmland.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I would give you points on that because, yeah, it's because a lot of people went to the states and they just. Matter of fact, I seen some stories that people sell their lands and went to the states, and when they went to the states, a couple years, and then they come back because they couldn't find a good job, and they come back and they live with people. So all kind of stories are here, and that's true. What you just said is true. Yeah, that gap. And so what you think? You think farming and fishing will be revised back in Dangriga within the youths?
I think if the youth, that time of the traditional farming and traditional fishing is kind of, because of the major gap, the time lapse in between it is too great to go back to the traditional effort. But I believe that what can be done is to influence our youth and our young people to go into like agro processing, the more technical aspects of farming. I think that would be the new way, because to force a young person that is already so used to technology to go back to farming the way how it used to be done is kind of a challenging thing to do. But I'm not saying it's not needed to be done, but we need to just diversify, and I think it could come back, but in a more dynamic fashion.
Okay.
But it just need the effort of someone to make it happen.
So it would take education. For instance, fishing.
Yes,
We could not just fishing with line, but do mass fishing, and
yes.
have bring it to the whatever the cooperative, stuff like that, innovative
Mhm.
way. You're right. In certain places they have then in certain places, fishing countries, they have where the fishes. They got GPS where the fishes shows where all the fishes, and the boat just rush there and get capture fishes, and then they take them back to the. So that line of work, that's what technology, right? And so Dangriga, to me, Dangriga hasn't developed much. Hasn't from since I grew up in Dangriga, it hasn't developed much. And my question is why? Why? Why?
I I believe the reason why I say that, again, not responding as a for on the behalf of CC, Citizens for Good Governance, as a personal response. Um, I believe that what has happened to Dangriga is that we have not been engaged. We have allowed everything to just pass by, and say, oh, that just happened, or don't really worry about that, or no be bothered. Yeah, that a change that always has been happening, or that's lack of engagement has always been our community problem. And we sometimes you just like a basic that, oh, it will get better. But we are now waking up because the young people, the population is increasing and we don't have enough land. Most young people don't know where they live, have a stay, their families. They don't know no access to any property. They don't have no employment. Things are getting tough. So people have no choice but to wake up and do something. That's why I believe now, unlike the past, Dangriga will have to do better because of the challenge we are facing now as a community.
Uh huh. Yeah. Hello. You can hear me, right?
Yes, and here is
Yeah. Another what I wanted to ask you about. What's your knowledge about jetty pair?
that now.
That's in
Jetty
Dangriga,
Pay
right?
now my number one gripe. That my number one gripe as a citizen of Dangriga, and I blame again. I have to ensure everyone knows that on this comment, I'm responding as Jamall Swaso, not as a member of the Citizens for Good Governance or on their behalf. Whatever statement I make is not reflective of the Citizens of Good Governance ideas. So, what I would like to say to that is that I am very disappointed in the political football that Jetty Pier has become. And it's rather insulting that our political parties, since the closure of Jetty Pier, has played a football with that pier. And to follow up to that discussion, that how all of them have done that, played
Mm-hmm.
a political football with that. The fact that the history of Jetty Pier closure is not known, that the involvement of many individuals, not politically aligned, not elected representatives that were involved in the closure of that port, needs to be told. I don't know who can, I don't know who had that, but it can really be. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know who needs to be highlighted about that, but the Jetty Pier is just insulting to our people that it's going on this way. It's very much insulting.
Yeah. You know, you got generation of Gregalians lived out the Jetty Pier. I remember my grandfather, my uncles, they used to work on that pier, and up to late, just up to I think up to the 70s, and that was it. They just closed the pier down. I mean, I don't know what
All
happened.
right.
So I'm
The
still.
thing is, what happens are Jetty Pier, unknown to many, was the lifeline of Dangriga, was the lifeline of the Stan Creek district, was the economic hub of this community. So losing that put us in a challenging situation that where our community have not recovered economically from. We have not had a replacement for the Jetty Pier to replace that economic loss from since that pier was closed. There has never been another economic platform for Dangriga to build from since the losing of Jetty Pier.
Yeah.
So Dangriga, there has never been after the closure of Jetty Pier anything within this tongue that has produced the economic financing that Jetty Pier did. The loss of Jetty Pier and the continuous political football that is taken for is insulting because we know that Dangriga need an economic platform to grow up.
Yeah. Yeah. We need. Then we're gonna need and I it boils down to these candidates now. I hope they're not just running so they could make their 25, $30,000 a month. Um, they have to have their hearts in Dangriga. Sawazo been there in Dangriga. I mean, come on. He knows Dangriga. Zabane knows Dangriga, but his people are just people that came to Dangriga. You understand? Uh, for Dangriga to get fixed, you really need somebody from Dangriga to fix Dangriga. I'm not telling people how to vote, but Dangriga have tried both political parties, and both political parties messed them up. I went down there the last time and I see 5 cement streets. That's about it. 5 cement streets, and the guy said they get $50 a vote, right? So I guess that they won't would it work. They work 5 cement streets without no drains and $50 to vote, I guess. And but moving on. What you think about the curfew on election night? If you have a little take on that, what you think about the curfew on election night?
My
It's a
perception of the curfew on election night is that probably it's necessary that we need to have a curfew because of the rapid spread of that is taking place in the COVID-19. However, the regulation is a bit too tight. Probably it could have been extended hour probably till 10 or till 9, but that will just be picking and choosing. To control the crowd, we have to understand that within our country, laws are not that much respected, and people will lose any opportunity for outlet and time to free up. But however, in our time right now in Belize, we don't have the we know that opportunity is not there because of the COVID-19 crisis. So I am not necessarily against the curfew, but I think it should just be extended a little an hour or two
Yeah.
to ensure that people have time to get recoup after the election results.
Yeah. Well, my take on the curfew. This is my take. If you're trying to do the curfew for the COVID-19 so it don't spread, start it right now. Start it now. Start it tomorrow. Don't wait till election day. Election day, if you are to catch COVID, you're already going to be having COVID. I mean, it's this is me. This is just what I'm saying. I think it's another rabbit out of a hat. Rabbit out of a hat is a trick. Look, I'm gonna tell you something. When you have 80%, this is just my perception. 80% of the public service personnel are UDP, right? And when you have 79, 79 to 84% of the policemen are UDP. Come on. Hey man, what about some ballot boxes that are hidden somewhere right now, ready to be mobilized? Ready to be mobilized with numbers and everything, names and everything. Man, look, man, the the registration list can be monopolized. Your registration number can be monopolized. Your signature can be fixed and put in a box, a makeshift box. Look, man, people, the ears and the eyes and ears are the people. If the people won't be around to see boxes coming from different angles, hey, then it's a rabbit out of a hat. I'm a lone voice speaking, but it's true, right? You gotta realize that I'm not a UDP, I'm not a PUP, I'm not a BPP, I'm not a BPF. But after carefully studying the UDP, they perfected how to win. They perfected, and after 12 years and making $35,000 a month, they're not gonna let that slip them by. They want their money. They want their money, and they're gonna win by any means necessary, even by having curfew that night. Trust me, I could fix up a ballot box with a registration with everybody registration name because it's there. It's there for the public. It's there for the public. I have registration. Everybody who registered in Belize to vote, right in on my phone. You understand? With the numbers and the address and with what they apply with a passport or a birth paper. Hey, so that's my take on the curfew. If you're gonna have curfew to try to save lives, have the damn curfew right now. No wait till election night. You're speaking to dummies, right? As I tell you, Jamall, what is most when you deal with citizens for good governance, right? How many are you guys or your group really read the Constitution of Belize?
The members of Citizens for Good Governance, we are also about part of a program known as Civic Fellowship, which is a Belizean program where we learn about the democracy and the process of governance. My pastime in high school used to be reading the Constitution of Belize, and as well as my other peers are aware and have read what, based on discussion, the Constitution of Belize, and keep up to date with the changes in the laws.
Okay. And do you guys believe Belize is abiding by the Constitution? You think so, or?
I do believe that we are abiding by the Constitution by the interpretation of it, but the constant changing in the law, it's in the Constitution that is there, and that comes from that we have adopted a system that creates those opportunities for political officials to do such things when elected, to change laws once they have the capacity to change, to put in statutory instruments to ensure that they could change laws to suit certain instances, right? But however, to say that the constitution is not, it has been violated to the extent that we are a failed state, I cannot say such. The constitution is operational and it's functional, but we are not at a failed state level where the constitution is not working. The constitution is working.
All right, I that's your take, and I'm far
Yes.
older. I'm far older than you. What I say about the Constitution. That's why I asked you if you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Mm-hmm.
we have over still over 50 laws that goes back all the ways back to colonialism. And why
That's
is
that.
why we voted these gangsters into office making $35,000 a month, and these guys don't revise nothing, nothing. They revise nothing. Why are we still having colonial laws in Belize? 2020.
The,
You
the
know,
my comment on that is that we adopted this system, and it's a system that we need to change. Everyone, everyone, citizens, elected officials, public servants, the constitution has to be adjusted. The country that we have adopted this constitution from, England, has changed majority of the laws that they had in the past. They're constantly adjusting their constitution, and it's like a living thing. The amount of changes that constantly happen with their constitution to adjust to their living. So we in Belize, being that we have received our independence, when we receive our independence, have rarely taken that step to make adjustments to our constitution that would be relevant to the our current needs as a country.
yeah, Jamal, but yeah, but I'm not here to protect these lazy guys up there. But
No, no.
when they're ready, they make laws. They make laws to suit themselves.
But that's
And
the reason is that we again in our country have been like a basic in terms, like, let me say this, a person, a radical revolutionary person that I respect, told me that the citizens need to take the government, whoever can, and sue them until we cannot sue them, no, on use our capacity to ensure that this system works. Because basically we're saying that these people who are electing are not operating the constitution like that it should be, and making adjustment like it should. So we as the citizens, being a part represented by the constitution, should hold these people accountable, taking them to court, using the court until the court cannot work anymore. Then if the court does not work in our favors and give somewhat illegal interpretation, then we're heading to a failed state. But at this time, we need to do our part as a people and hold, be a check and balance to these people who are electing through the courts and through other actions.
yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you for that. But
Mm.
yeah, but the system works. The system works. Belize the system works, but it only works for 2% of the Belizean people. It only works for two
And
percent of the Belizean people. Look,
we,
man, when I was growing up in Belize, right? When I was growing up in Belize, poverty wasn't 50%. Literacy wasn't like the way it is now.
all right.
Look, we
So,
gotten. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
so that statement that we are not where we used to be is because of some failure that took place prior to my generation. Some misstep that we not blame anyone for that, but we are in a situation because we have been lackadaisic, we have been asleep at the wheels, and we have allowed this situation to progress this rapidly to reach this level. If the Belizean public do not get involved in democracy, democracy, like Mr. Lizaraga told me in an interview, is a contact sport. If you do not get involved, you get what you vote for and what is elected. You have to be involved in democracy, not only at the voting time. Democracy is beyond the voting process. We could demand much more as a people, and we could do much more to ensure that whatever constitution we have works.
Yeah, and that's good. And I'm gonna tell you something. You see the two party side, the two system we have, right? How they just clone the people. The people, a debate was formed for these so-called kings. They call themselves kings. They feel like they are above the Belizean people, so they are no show. They didn't show up. They, even a 9-year-old kid could have answered those damn questions. Why they didn't show up? They didn't have no good reasons for not showing up. They think they're gonna win. They think they're gonna win. That's why they didn't show up. They think they're running things in Belize. They're gonna have more planes landing. They're gonna have more drugs in the country. That's how they live. You understand? If you look at these reputation of these guys from their fathers, what happened? Just look what they come from. You know, so they think they're kings. They don't have to. They don't have to. They don't have to come up and talk to the Belizean people and answer questions. They're bigger than that, you know. And they get some people. Look, man, I tell you some. I get into some trouble sometimes. Some, I like, for instance, last week I asked a couple guys PUP, PUP, PUP. So I tell them what section of the Constitution. As I start talk, they start walking away. They don't know shit. They just hollering PUP, and they don't know their own damn Constitution. They don't. You know, a set of dummies, 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 dummies. That's what Belize is producing when it comes to election. Set of dummies.
But in terms of that, I would not want to say that all Belizeans are
Well,
dumb.
I don't say
I would say,
I don't say
I would say, I would say that we have had a challenge within our democratic engagement, and we have had a challenge within the educating of. That's why shows like these are important to educate our listening public and our public who are not aware of our current situation, to know that there is an alternative to what we have right now, and that we could be engaged better, and that we must understand what is democracy, and we must understand the way how we are governed, and we must understand the value of our votes. And that's one of the reasons why we found the Citizens for Good Governance in Dangriga.
yes, and that's. I mean, come on. You see how fast time fly by? Time fly by quick, 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 quick. But before we end, I wanna ask you. I wanna ask. I mean, you don't have to answer. But what's your take on the election in Dangriga?
But my take on the election is that it will be a dynamic day, and it will be a day of tension. It will be a day of coming to realities with ourselves, and it will be just a day of democracy. And let the people decide. Let the
Yeah.
voters decide. Let the people speak. That what will happen on election day.
Okay. Well, I will let you have the last take on this. Yeah. Let you have the last.
And then good night, everyone. Again, I would just like to invite everyone to tune in to our show. They know the debate launch that will be launched November 3rd on the Citizens for Good Governance Facebook page, and as well on Southern Belize media page. Through those platform, we'll be launching them virtually, and we're seeking to launch it on cable, on TV as well. So we're preparing for that, and we will inform you through the Citizens for Good Governance page what we'll do through that to launch it on television. But please go on and like our social media page, Citizens for Good Governance, and stay engaged with us and present any question that you may have. And please do be good citizens. Continue to review our constitution and engage in democracy. Democracy is a contact sport. Get engaged, vote, and be engaged beyond the election date. Thanks.
All right then. Well, you believe you heard it from and people in Dangriga, and people in the people up in the diaspora. That's Jamall
Mm.
Swaso from Dangriga Tongue,
Mm.
and he represents the Citizens for Good Governance. Well, I'll see you sometimes in the week, Jamal.
All right, then,
Thank you
so
very
thanks
much.
again for having me on.
Yes.